Hey guys, King of Charmander's here. Alright, so you're probably wondering why I'm doing a video on Medicham XL when I've already covered the top 5 fighters. Fact of the matter is, Medicham XL is a beast, and the fact that it's not bad makes it really good in the Great League Remix. It's #1 for a reason. It's really freaking good. But, for those of you that don't know, or you want the scientific explanation, I'm going to give it in this video. Anyways, if we scroll down here, Medicham XL is a fighting and psychic type. So with that psychic typing, the thing that makes Medicham so strong is that it beats so many other fighters. I think it beats almost every other fighter except like 2 or 3, or something of that sort. Anyways, if you scroll down below, the reason why Medicham XL is so good is because at level 50, it's obscenely bulky. Bulk is king in Pokemon Go PvP. So when you put a fighter with a lot of bulk and great coverage moves, you get Medicham. And Medicham is an absolute boss. Like, even before the XL variation came out, Medicham was good. Now, it's even better because it's so bulky, and like I said, with that coverage, it's amazing, and counter is an incredibly powerful move. As you see here, Medicham has 3 more weaknesses than resistances. However, if you look at its resistances, it's basically subpar built to destroy most fighters and Bastiodon and Registeel in this cup. Being only weak to Fairy, Flying, and Ghost, which you'll see a lot in the Great League Remix. However, as long as if you pivot away from those typings, and you don't get your... Well, Medicham can even Psychic them to death, so... even like, you have one-shot kill potential. It just really depends on what you're facing and the situation in the battle. But as you see here, what makes Medicham XL so powerful isn't the fact that it has great stats, it's also the moveset. It has Counter, which is the best overall. That's the reason why it's a fighter, because Counter is an OP fast move. Psychic, which can give you a defense debuff. You also get same type attack bonus because of its typing with Psychic, and you have the option of using Power Up Punch to rev up your moves, or Ice Punch for that coverage. It's really freaking good. So Medicham XL is a beast in this cup, and with all of this, it is the #1 and the strongest Pokemon overall in the Great League Remix. Alright, so for the Great League Remix, I'm not going to go over the rankings too much. You're here for the Matrix, so just skip to the Matrix if that's what you're looking for, if you already watched my top 5 fighters. As you see here, Medicham is overall the most powerful Pokemon in Great League Remix, also the most powerful fighter, as well as the most powerful lead. Also A's across the board, so whichever position you put Medicham XL in, it's going to be really freaking good. As you see here, like I mentioned, it's the fighter that beats other fighters. So you could beat things like Scrafty, you could also beat things like Vigoroth. You beat down Bastion, you also beat down the Weather Ballers and Bastiodon and Abomasnow. It's so bulky, you can tank quite a bit of damage, and there's a lot of play you could do with Medicham. As you see here, your key losses are going to be your weaknesses, which are flying types, things that resist counter, which is basically Deoxys defense, Charmers, Ghost types, of course, because you are weak to Ghost because of Psychic, and Charmers. So, as you see here, #1 lead, super powerful, great lead. As a switch, you can even use it as a switch. #5 as a switch, being able to beat out a lot of other things. I would throw it into a positive matchup if you have it in the back, but it works just as well in the lead, and its best position is, in fact, in the lead. For several reasons, and you will see why in the Matrix. The closer, Medicham XL, is at #10. Just beats down everything, and yes, it wipes out Toxicroak with 1 Psychic. Alright, as I always say, please consider donating at ppoke.com. I have Medicham XL. For each Medicham, we're going to assume maximum IVs, as in either a rank 1 or a rank 2, because a rank 2 is basically a pseudo rank 1, which means they basically operate the same, they have the same stats, it's just a visual effect. As you see here, again, we're going to assume they're all maximum ranks. Level 51, from what I researched, does not matter. We're not going to look at 51. Instead, we're going to look at maximum IVs and every single moveset available. So, Ice Punch Psychic, Power Up Punch Psychic, and Dynamic Punch Psychic. The reason you want Psychic is because of that stab damage and that extra KO potential. Psychic does have coverage and allows you to hit a lot of things. If you get the debuff, it's even better. So you want Psychic. But if you want the option to be really spicy or really fancy, I'm going to put every single move. For example, I put Ice Punch, I put Power Up Punch, I also put Dynamic Punch. I also put level 41 XL at the bottom right here, just so that you see like the difference between the XL variation and the perfect variation. Because if you want to run the perfect variation, it's good, but the XL will likely beat it. So I already have the 2 shield, I have the remix to the right, the meta, and then we're going to battle. As you see here, the reason why Medicham XL is such a beast is because in the 2 shield, you can run through Altaria. So the 2 shield with Ice Punch, you can run through Altaria, as you see over here. So in this battle, as you see here, the problem with this is that 1 turn of lag will essentially flip this matchup. So this matchup needs to work perfectly. So again, if you lag, you die, which sucks. If you lag, you die. It's really terrible, but it's what it is. So, again, 1 turn of difference can make it, so if you lag, you die. It can beat Altaria, however. But other than that, other than an Altaria matchup, it has a ton of coverage over here. As you see here, you can beat Bastion, you beat Chestnut too, you beat Deoxys defense, you can beat Deoxys defense in the 2 shield with Ice Punch, or you can do it with Pup. Now, the thing about Pup is they have to fall for they bait. 9 times out of 10, I'm telling you this right now, they are not going to bait. Or they're not going to fall for your bait. Deoxys defense can take an Ice Punch. It can also tank a Pup. It can tank a Psychic. Basically, none of your charge moves, exception of Ice Punch, actually works against Deoxys defense. If you go to the sandbox and they don't actually shield your Ice Punch, here's what happens. You look at the damage it does, it only does 18 damage. So you're doing 10% of their damage for 5 counters. It's not like, well, not even 10%, honestly. I don't math super well, but you know what? 18 of 142 isn't that, like, hard to, like, really put together. I mean, 18 of, like, actually, no, that's like 10%. Yeah, 18 of, like, 97 isn't that hard to put together. But as you see here, you don't do a lot of damage. And it can effectively tank your Ice Punch, your Psychic, as well as your Power Punch. So just keep in mind, you will lose a lot of scenarios against Deoxys defense. This isn't set in stone. For example, if we go over here and they don't bait with... If you don't bait shields with low energy moves, here's what happens. As you see here, Medicham XL barely wins. And that's assuming... Oh no. Here, if you bait with moves, and then if you don't bait. So, in other words, if you try to go straight Ice Punch, here's what happens. Deoxys defense will win. Just because of the fact that, like, it resists everything you have to throw at it. Now, they have to land a Thunderbolt on you. If they don't land a Thunderbolt on you, you lose. But generally, if they land one, they could just straight Rock Slide you. So, you're at more risk than they are. Because of the fact that they just have a Deoxys. So, you technically lose the matchup against Deoxys defense. So, don't bank on it. If you get hit by Thunderbolt, you lose. Just keep that in mind. Dugong, Diggersby, of course, they're ice and normal, so you beat the unholy hell out of it. Driplim will tear you a new one just because it does resist. Practically, it does super effective damage to you. Also, Shadow Ball sucks, and you have to almost... You're very heavy on the pressure. Like, yes, Ice Punch does super effective damage against Driplim, but Driplim is so bulky, it can basically tank a ton of your moves. And with Icy Wind, it can debuff you. Like I said, Driplim has a lot of pressure on you, so don't... I would switch out. Same thing with Frostless. Anything that's Ghost, anything that resists counter, I would switch out. Don't go against it. You don't want to take... If it resists fighting types, as in Ghost types, as in Ghosts... Well, basically Ghost types, to be honest with you. If it's a Ghost type and you're a fighting type, do not run. Just run. Just run if it has Ghost. Just run. If it's a Ghost or a Flyer, run. As you see here, you will lose against every Ghost and Flyer in the Archetype, even Psychic types. Well, Psychic types basically resist Fighting type too, so... As you see here, I'm just trying to remember everything as I'm going along, but basically, you won't lose against all of them, though. You won't lose against all of them. Now, here's why Medicham XL is a beast. You will beat level 41 Medicham. So if they don't have a Medicham XL, you beat it. Just because you're bulkier. That's how level 50 Medicham is so powerful. Also, level 50 Medicham can beat Meganium in the 2-shield. As you see here, here's Meganium. If Meganium does not... well, actually, here's the thing. If Meganium has good IVs, I think it beats you. So let's assume... Well, no, actually, I don't even think it does. Yeah, Medicham XL still wins. So even at max IV, so Meganium loses the 2-shield against Medicham XL. So Medicham XL is a... This is why with 2 shields, Medicham XL is a beast. You'll lose against Sableye because it's a Ghost type. You also but other than that, you beat a majority of meta. A good rule of thumb is if it's poison, like I said, if it's poison, grass, I mean not poison, poison, flying, psychic, or ghost, basically everything that resists counter, switch. That's basically it. Unless you are super confident that 1 little inch of lag will not kill you with Altaria. Because Altaria is pretty much the only matchup you win in the 2-shield if everything goes well. 9 times out of 10, it doesn't go well. You could try to break both shields or do something fancy, But just be aware, 9 times out of 10, you probably will lose that if you lag or if they get a Dragon Breath through your Ice Punch. So that's the 2 shield. Now we're going to go through the 1 shield. As you see, I'm being really specific because a lot of you probably are thinking of using Medicham XL. If you do have one, it's just that good. As you see here in the 1 shield, it pretty much is the same thing though. In the 1 shield, wait, I forgot about fairies. I'm sorry. I forgot about fairies. So, if it is a fairy type, if it has charm, run. That's it. Fairy, psychic, poison, and ghost, run. And flying. So, yeah, any of those 5 types, run. As you see here, you die to pretty much all of those. Even Hypno. I believe you pretty much, well, the only psychic type you beat is technically Machamp, and technically it's a fighter. It's not really a psychic type, so, well, it's a psychic type, but like technically it's a more, you use it more of a fighter, you know what I mean? You don't really rely on like Confusion or like Psycho Cut, or it's like psychic typing. But as you see here, that's the general rule of thumb. You beat everything. You beat most of everything that isn't those typings. Now the interesting in the 1 shield, you can beat Shadow Victory Bell. However, you have to psychic it to death. What makes Medicham XL so good with Psychic is it gives you a coverage move, it gives you a move that can hit neutral damage, debuff, and if it's a poison type, you pretty much OKO it to oblivion. Which is why Shadow Victory Bell, as you see over here. Now, if you don't hit it with Psychic, you essentially get well, actually, you can win just straight Ice Punch. Never mind, I lied. So that's Shadow Victory Bell. However, the matchup I'm thinking of is actually Toxicroak. So with Toxicroak, you have to Psychic it. If you don't Psychic it, you pretty much die. As you see here, if you don't hit Psychic, let's take away Psychic, here's what happens. Actually, it still wins. Never mind. You can win straight Ice Punch. I lied. Okay, so never mind. They're poison. Yeah, I'm wrong. Okay, that's why. I'm thinking of the other Medicham, not this Medicham. So, well, basically, I'm thinking of this Medicham, not this Medicham. You can tell I haven't used this Medicham a lot, even though I have one. So you can actually beat most poison types straight Ice Punch. So I lied. I'm wrong. Correct me. This one has to hit, if you have a level 41, you must hit Psychic. If you have a level 50, you can go straight Ice Punch. That's how good Medicham XL is. Again, general rule of thumb, it's not flying, if it's not fairy, if it's not poison, if it's not psychic, if it's not flying, you basically beat it. The basics of it. So, again, it's not too hard to run, which is why Medicham XL is just a boss. If it doesn't resist your counters, it's gonna kill you. Unless you have an obscene amount of, and unless you have shield or energy advantage, then it's kind of like meh. But as you see here, pretty much same rule of thumb in the 0 shield as well. This is why Medicham is so strong. It's just, there's like, and 2 psychics can possibly kill a lot of things. This is why Medicham XL in Open Great League is so good, because you can take out Azu with Psychic. As you see here, in the 0s, Medicham XL does have a chance against the flying type archetype. It can Ice Punch. For example, you could beat Tropius with Ice Punch, as you see here. Well, Tropius is double weak to Ice Punch, so you gotta give it there. You won't win against Mana Buzz, though. So, you're gonna either see a lot Mana Buzz, Tropius, and you can see Pelipper as well, which I don't see over here, but I think Pelipper does beat you just because it's a flying type, so don't try to tangle with Pelipper. And if you have shield advantage, basically you have a dominant matchup against most things. You'll probably only lose to either, well, like I said, if it resists you, you're probably going to lose. But as you see here in the 1 to 0s, it gets a little dicey, but general rule of thumb, like I mentioned before. If it's any of those 5 types, run. But some of those you have chance against, like Tropius, so if you can Ice Punch Tropius to death, you win. And Shadow Victory Bell, that's always a plus. If you're in the 2 to 0s, you'll probably mash through everything in the meta, except for Charmers. Correct. Okay, so unless it's a Charmer, you'll probably beat everything in the meta 2 to 0s. So, Charmers are your worst nightmare. In the 2 to 1s, as you see here, when you have shield advantage, you do have a chance against a lot of things, like, for example, against Frostless, but I think you have to hit Psychic, because Ice Punch is resisted, so if you don't hit Psychic, you die, as you see here. Can you go straight Psychic? I think you can. Yeah, so you can go straight Psychic against a Frostless in the 2 to 1s, but mind you, you have to shield both Avalanches, because I think if you eat one, you die. So if you don't shield this one, you die. Oh no, you could survive an Avalanche. So in the 1s, you could go straight Psychic, assuming you have no chip damage. So if you're not hurt, as you see here, you have literally like that much HP. So this is assuming that you aren't hurt. So you can beat some things with shield advantage, as you see here, as long as you're able to hit Psychic on it. And in the 2-to-1s, you can take out Deoxys defense. So Deoxys defense is probably going to be one of your worst nightmares. With Medicham XL, you can beat it straight Ice Punch, even if it hits you with a Thunderbolt. So that extra, so shield scenarios do matter. But general rule of thumb, like I said before, most of the time, if you do see a fairy ghost, poison, psychic, or flying, you're going to lose most of the time, unless Ice Punch does double effective, is double super effective, like against Tropius. Good thing is, you could straight Ice Punch a Shadow Victory Belt to death, which is always a plus. If you don't hate this thing, it's because you use it. And if you use it, just be aware, you are going to die to Ice Punch. So, make sure you run. But as you see here, it's like with Shield Advantage, it's really, really good. Alright, so I didn't go over Break or Bulk points. Just use the highest IV Medicham you can, because the stats aren't going to matter too much. Honestly. So, just use the highest rank you can for level 50. If you have one built, use that. Because you're likely not going to build another second Medicham, because it's really expensive, unless you play this game unless you play this game a lot. And, well, like me, but if you have enough XL candy build too, just use the highest ranked one. Like I said, bulk and break points don't naturally matter. Well, they do matter, but not with Medicham XL, just because it's already maxed at level 50. The matchups you lose 1 HP in a dream will be so specific that it's just going to hurt your head and my head too, so it doesn't really matter. As far as team building goes with Medicham XL pairs well with a lot of things. You kind of want make sure you have coverage against Charmers though, so make sure whatever you have has neutral damage or coverage against Charmers. As you see, Registeel is a pretty good candidate. However, this is a core I want you to watch out for a lot, because you're probably going to see it a lot. Not only in the training simulator, but here's what happens. If you pair Medicham with Bastiodon, here's what you get. Boom. You get the highest, these two alone have the highest coverage against the top meta. If you look, it has the lowest threat score. Literally, these two literally encompass the lowest threat score in the entire. It's just that good. And then if you pair this core with pretty much anything in the back, if you try to go double steel, so if you try to go Bastiodon, if you go with double steel, which I don't really recommend because of the fighter conundrum, if you pair it with something like Jellicent, this is what you get. So, boom. You could pair if you pair these two, or you can do, if you want, you can be like the really fancy guy and do the double steel. But basically, Medicham and Bastiodon are a powerful core. As you see here, you could do even Registeel in the back, and this is what you get. Just be mindful, you're going to die to a lot of fighters. But as you see here, but it still does very well. As you see here, Jellicent to Deoxys defense because they're fighters, etc. So, Medicham, you're probably going to see a lot of variations with Medicham and with Bastiodon. Medicham XL also gels well with basically other safe switches as well. So if you put Pelipper with it, you try to use Pelipper as a safe switch. As you see here, it still does really well. Just basically Medicham XL in the lead. Pelipper, good core. So if we put, let's see, if you put Bastiodon, let's put Registeel in the back just to be like non-spicy. So you have coverage against flyers, and you have coverage against steel. As you see here, still does really well. So you can pair. Okay, that's a very scary rating. But anyways, as you see here, again, Medicham XL can work in any position. That's how flexible it is. That's how great it is. Particularly Medicham Bastiodon. That's why that's why it's so powerful and so annoying in Go Battle League. But again, if you want to use Medicham XL, make sure you use the highest rank one. Moveset does matter, but it's so specific that it's really up to you. Whatever Medicham moveset you have, make sure you're comfortable with, and make sure you practice with it. I'm pretty sure you've practiced with it already, because it's really, really good in Open Great League. Other than, you don't need the remix for Medicham XL to be really freaking good. Alright, and that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Medicham XL, obviously there's a lot more things you could do with it, but there's so many combinations that hopefully I gave you. I wanted to cover most of the important information for Medicham XL in this video. Other than that, everything else is just so specific to whatever scenario is out there that I'm not going to go over it. But as you see, Medicham XL is just a beast. Statistically, it is the most powerful Pokemon in Great League Remix, even in Open Great League, and for good reason. It has great bulk, it has great moveset coverage. Unless you are a fairy, a psychic type, a ghost type, a flyer, or what's the fifth thing it's weak to? Psychic type, flyer, what? I'm missing something. I'm trying to figure it out, but I don't remember. Anyways, if it does resist counter or resist fighting, general census is run. Just switch out and then try to basically have two things that cover Medicham XL's weakness. and be especially careful of Charmers. Now, if you are going against this meta, just be aware Medicham XL is going to be out there a lot. So, you need something in your team that can possibly take out a fighter, and you need a team that isn't super weak to fighters. Because fighters are going to be here, especially Medicham XL, because Medicham XL is such a beast. And Medicham also, unless I think it's Deoxys defense, it basically beats all the other fighters in the game or has a chance against them. So if you use Medicham, I hope this helps you out. If you don't use Medicham, but you're aware of it, hopefully this video helps you and gives you more insight and gives you the deep dive on how you beat Medicham XL, or like I said, make sure you have a counter against it in your team, because if it's not Medicham XL, you're definitely going to see another potential fighter on your opponent's team. If you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. Good luck on Go Battle League sets, and I will see you guys on the next video. Alright, that's it guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I wanted to put a lot of awareness out there for Medicham XL because one, you're either going to use this thing or you're going to see it a lot. It's just that good. Sadly, because Medicham XL is kind of inaccessible, or here's the thing, if you want to get a Medicham or use it for Go Battle League, you need a perfect one and it needs to be level 40. So, I can understand why Medicham is not banned, even though you see it a lot in the upper rankings, like from 20 to 24, just because your average player, or the casual player that plays Go Battle League but doesn't grind a lot, so that's why it wasn't banned. So I get it. However, with it not being banned, this means that it is essentially, if you want to say it, it is technically overpowered. With Power Punch, with such a great moveset like Power Punch, Ice Punch, you can beat flowers in the 2 shield. Psychic, you can nuke a lot of things. There's a lot of things Medicham can do. Medicham also beats most other I think Medicham actually, it beats most other fighters in Go Battle League. So it's just a monster, and if you have it, it's great. If you don't have it, it kind of sucks for you. Not saying that, yes, there are counters to it, but it is so powerful that there's not a lot of hard counters to Medicham. It is a beast, it is powerful, and it has a lot of versatility, and it's just that. It's the top Pokemon overall in the Great League Remix. Again, if you're gonna use it, I highly recommend, because it's just that strong if you want to climb. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Hopefully this does help you out with Medicham builds. If you are planning to use Medicham yourself, good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see you guys on the next video.